Hi, I'm Bryce Johnson. I'm a heavy-set white man with a gray bushy beard, here in the Microsoft Inclusive Tech Lab. In the background, you can see our sensory area, which has some twinkly lights and bright colors. But in front of me, I have three devices. I have an Xbox Series X game console, I have a Microsoft Audio dock, and I have our newest dock, the Surface Thunderbolt dock. These devices use a system that we are designing that we call tactile indicators, which are little bumps over the ports to help give you an additional affordance for discerning the ports without sight. So what I mean by that is that you can imagine if you're someone who's reaching around to the back of your Xbox and you're trying to figure out the ports and you're doing it by touch alone, like say someone who is sightless, you have an additional affordance beyond the shape of the port to help you determine what this port actually is. So this is a system that we're developing currently, and we hope to see it in more products, and we encourage other people in the industry to look at this and use it in their own products. What we are defining here is a way for people to understand ports by touch exclusively. But I will say that the tactile indicators, we don't believe that the tactile indicators on their own are enough of an affordance. They are an enhancement in addition to the shape of the port and any support material that is provided with the device. So the reason why this came up is that if you look at the back of an Xbox console and you're trying to determine the difference between a USB-A port, so a typical USB port, and an HDMI port, they are tactily very similar. So we added affordances so that people could figure them out. And we did this by going around Microsoft and working with our blind colleagues to determine the best set of patterns for these ports. And what we determined was it was important for us to follow the standards of Braille because there's a lot of great work that has been done to determine the tactileness of Braille, but not to make our characters or the things that we're creating similar to Braille in any way. We do not want our tactile indicators to be confused with Braille because that just confuses the people who are using them. And as we've evolved the system, we had a single dot on the power port of our Xbox Series X, but in our newest devices, we've moved that single dot to be from power to USB-C. And that allows us to have a kind of robust yet simple set of patterns that we can use across a number of devices and still maintain some consistency. Now, it's important for us to give guidance on how these should be used, but we don't want to be prescriptive in any way. So we want people to feel that they have some freedom to use these in the way that works best for their device. So we don't have any guidance around whether they should be on top of the port or below the port or beside the port. I think you have to contextually understand that and use them in the device the way you'd like to. And so we're really excited about how this works, and we continue to evolve. And let me just now go through what those port values are. So we have a solid line for HDMI, we have a single dot for USB-C, and we have 3 dots for USB-A. We also use 2 dots for an Ethernet cable. Now, when it comes to things like headphone jacks and power, one of the things that we feel is important is that no tactile indicator is in itself a tactile indicator. So we do not have tactile indicators for headphones or power. I hope this was a helpful introduction to our idea around tactile indicators. Please reach out if this is something that interests you in the products that you're making. We really want this to be adopted industry-wide, and we want to learn. We want to learn what's good about it and what we can improve. So please feel free to reach out. Thanks.